Hi, Reed.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Just go to the Trails Cafe.
I did.
It's such a nice place. Yeah, so could I get your first name?
Agatha.
Agatha?
Yeah.
A-G?
A-T-H-A.
Gotcha. All right. So cool, yeah. I just have this hobby where I chat with people really about any topic. But typically it's best if it's some kind of deeply held belief, something you really think is true, something that might influence you on a regular basis.
Uh-huh.
But before you pick a belief, I like to get people's opinion on something.
Okay, sure.
So let's just say that we could be very confident that there's an even number of Tic Tacs in this box.
Okay.
But someone comes up to the table and insists there's actually an odd number of Tic Tacs in the box. And we ask them why, and they're just like, it's just my truth that there's an odd number.
Mm-hmm.
Odd situation, but what do you think about that situation?
The fact that two people could have completely different truths.
Do you think that's possible? Do you think is someone mistaken in this situation, or could that be possible?
I think it's possible, but I think the answer to that's like really complex.
Okay.
Because I think it's about perception, and I think that as individuals, we are all capable of perceiving different things out of the same reality based on our ability to take in information.
Okay. So the number of Tic Tacs, is it true that there's an actual number?
I guess it depends. It depends. It depends. Yeah. There's like more theories about this that I don't know really very well, but it's like, the idea that we can only see what we see because of our senses are the ones that are evolved inside of us. And so there's a theory that says that things don't exist until they're observed. Do you know that theory? That until there's an observer actually looking at the thing is just a wave particle. So it doesn't have a reality until it's been observed.
Okay. Does that apply to Tic Tacs?
Potentially it could, and I mean not necessarily.
Okay. Well, we can set that aside for now.
See, Nikki, this isn't going well. Because my friend Nikki said it was going to go really well. So it's going really weird.
I've got a sense of how you see things, I think. Yeah, I just use that to try to understand how people see truth and stuff like that. So yeah, is there a belief that you want to chat about?
Just one belief.
Really anything. Could be religious or spiritual or political.
Yeah. Well, really, lately I'm really big on this belief where I'm trying to practice it. So I'm trying to test my own belief. But the belief is that if you line up with your intentions of what you want, then you can attract that kind of reality. And you can't ever attract anything that you don't already hold space for in your heart as an experience or as a feeling.
Okay. So just to clarify what I'm hearing you say, correct me if I'm wrong, that you believe that if you line up your intentions with something that you want, you attract that reality?
Yes.
What do you mean by that? Like, do you have an example of that happening? For yourself or someone else? Or
I have tons of examples of that happening in my life, but it's like you get what you think of. Those are the experiences that you have. If you think of yourself in a depressive, sad, low, victimized kind of way, you will literally walk into the room and line up with the thing that matches that. So you'll find the worst person to talk to. You'll trip on your foot walking into the bar. Like, it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. But if you line up with a higher vibration, a more positive frequency, you'll see the smiling person. You'll see everything as the glass being half full.
What do you mean by that? The higher vibration? I don't know what you mean.
Oh, you don't? I guess I assume everyone knows my beliefs. I guess I assume they're also like common beliefs in LA, right? But higher vibration, what I mean by that is that it's energy and emotional. It starts with an emotional field. So if I'm walking around and I feel like I'm having a bad day, the chances are that I'm going to magnify that experience because of my feeling state. Whereas and it's as simple as like, imagine if you feel bad and you're walking with your head down, hunched over, looking at your feet.
Mm-hmm.
you're closing down. You're immediately shutting down the other possibilities, because at every time there's an infinite number of possibilities happening to you when you walk into any environment. And if you start to decide that you think that you know what's happening based on your feeling state, based on a story that you're telling yourself, like I'm having a bad day or a bad moment or whatever it is that you decide, then that's the only experience you have. You're immediately shutting the door on all the other experiences in the room.
Okay, so you're saying your energy or emotional field?
Yes, your
or
emotional
feeling state.
field. Yeah.
This relates to a vibration?
Yes, it relates to how you then make decisions moving forward. And then those tiny incremental decisions along the way shape the next moment and the next moment and the next moment.
Yeah, like our mood can affect.
Yeah, it's like
how
a domino.
we act.
It's like a domino effect, you know?
Okay.
So people oftentimes are reactive. So one thing goes wrong and they start to have lots of feelings about that thing that went wrong. And then the next thing goes wrong. And it's not until something snaps them out of that kind of avalanche of feelings.
All right. So this related to the law of attraction.
Yes.
And by that you mean like you get what you think of.
Yes.
Okay. Is it possible for someone to get something that they don't think of at all?
They might think that because consciously they're not thinking about it, but subconsciously they've been programmed to think that.
So people get what they...
I actually believe people get what they subconsciously believe, not even what they consciously believe. So to deepen what I set up, it actually originates, the feeling state and the vibration originates from the subconscious.
So everything that happens to someone relates to someone's either conscious or unconscious thoughts?
Mostly their subconscious thoughts.
Mostly the subconscious.
Yeah.
How do we know this is true?
How do we know this is true? Well, it's hard. I mean, that's a hard question because I don't think you can.
Well, could I get first a sense of your confidence that it is true?
Oh,
say on a scale from 0 to 100.
To me, it's just like if it's true for me in my experience. So I've tested that theory in my own life, you know?
Well, that's what I was trying to get at with the Tic Tacs.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure that's possible to have something be true for someone that is just true for you. Like someone could believe something is true, but they could be mistaken.
Yeah.
For myself, I want to believe as many true things as possible, but also as few false things.
Yeah.
So when it comes to this, I'm not quite sure what the reasons are for believing in it and whether or not those reasons are reliable. That's what I'm trying to get at with asking people about things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if true for you
yeah.
is your main reason why it's true, is that a reliable way to be confident that this is true?
It's a reliable way for me because I'm in the driver's seat of my own life. So if I enact a sense of beliefs that prove to be true by living out those beliefs that then support a life that matches the idea of what lies behind the belief, and then life supports that, then my life, it's true, right?
Well, could someone live out a truth about the number of Tic Tacs in the box and impact the actual number? Like, how does someone's living of life relate to the actual reality of a situation?
Well, because life is a lot more malleable than a box of Tic Tacs.
What do you mean?
It's more fluid. Tic Tacs are a concrete form that's landed there because like a man in a factory made a sugar-coated candy, packaged it up, wrapped it up, and there's a whole bunch of other things that could have happened. And one man could have put 35 Tic Tacs in that box, but one man put 34 Tic Tacs in that box. And then we're landing at the one little thing and saying, how many Tic Tacs are in this box? Mm-hmm. In that moment, yeah, there's only one number of Tic Tacs that are true. But life and your whole experience here is not as fixed as a box of Tic Tacs. It is a playground of opportunities, possibilities, and there's an infinite number of them. And you're not ever landing on one saying, is this true? It's true in this moment, and then 1 second later, it's not true, you know? The truth is not a fixed state. That's what's true.
What do you mean by truth?
Well, you started with the true question. You said, what is it true? And I'm saying, well, truth is not truth. The way that you're saying it is not a fixed state. It's like there's 34 Tic Tacs in there right now, but if I ate one, there wouldn't be, right?
If we changed it, it wouldn't be.
It would, yeah. And I'm saying that in life, there's no constant. This experience of being here has no constant. Everything is constantly evolving. And the second you say it's on its way to being something else.
I can see how that's the case for our perception of reality. But reality itself, for myself, truth is that which corresponds with reality.
Truth is whatever we as humanity have learned so far that truth is. Like whatever knowledge or scientific evidence you can have that defines the pure definition of truth is literally based on the knowledge, that collective knowledge that we as a humanity have thus arrived at. If moving forward we add another quantity into the definition of truth, then that again changes.
Yeah, we have been trying to figure out what reality is for a long time.
If I was talking to you, 7,000 years ago, your truth would be that of a Neanderthal. And it wouldn't be very reliable. And you would be saying to me, but it's true. And I would be saying to you, cool, that's what you know, what you've defined in your cave as true, right? At that present moment, because of the knowledge that was available to you in that human experience. And I'm saying is that our evolution and expansion is so continuous that there's no way to land. There's no way to agree on a truth. There's no way to agree to say this is true, even scientifically speaking, because science is constantly realizing, oh, well, what about this? What about this? And they're constantly evolving their data and learning and growing. And all of a sudden, Albert Einstein's theories aren't true when in fact they were the hardcore factual truths of the scientific community. So it's hard to arrive at a truth that's true.
Yeah, science doesn't get us to absolute truths.
Yeah.
It just gets us. It's a systematic process for ruling out things that aren't true. So the things that are left over, we can trust them to be something that has something to do with whatever is true. Like whatever we find from science, it has to be like a tentative finding because new evidence might come along to change our mind.
I think beliefs are really similar to that.
Okay. So with this law of attraction belief,
it's a tentative finding. So and you say, how do you know it's true? Because in the tests that I've done in my own life, it's coming up true. Okay. You know, in the way that I enact that belief in my life,
Is there a test that you could perform that would cause you to no longer believe that it's true?
To no longer believe it's true.
Yeah, what would have to come along to cause you to no longer believe that it's true?
I don't know.
Don't know.
I don't know. I think it's a really good belief because it holds so true to almost every experience you could have in the universe, in this human experience, you know?
If that's the case, that it fits pretty much any test.
Yeah.
Where there's kind of no way for it to fail. What's the point? Like, how can we be confident that it's useful or valuable if there's no way to test it so it can fail?
It's so funny, though, because that's just a scientific approach to a belief. And I come from a background that's a very scientific-based background.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that I was a borderline atheist for a really long time. And then I have come to know people that have all kinds of faith and beliefs. And my judgment about their ability to prove that thing subsided because it worked for them. And then I started to think, what you believe is true.
Because it worked for people?
Because it works for them. Because it makes their life better. Because they feel better. And then that goes back to what I believe, which is that if you feel really good, you have a deeper, better experience here on Earth.
So our beliefs can make us feel better.
They can dictate the course of your life.
Mm-hmm.
What you believe determines what happens to your life.
What we believe determines that?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Just
I mean, you will never know that because you don't believe that. So you'll never ever live that. You'll always live in a state of questioning and analysis because that's what makes you feel the best about being here. And so you will always have experiences that prove your belief. Your belief is that you can't believe in things unless you prove them to be true, and you'll attract a world that shows you that. And the people that are believing in whatever they're believing are attracting an experiences that matches that.
Well, yeah, I like to believe in whatever is left over from testing it. Like if a belief fails a test,
yeah,
why continue to believe it? You know?
Because tests aren't bulletproof. You could have had a flawed test.
If we get a bunch of people together to test something and they all use the same methods and come across the same findings and we all check each other's work and make sure we're all good there.
So what about like 90%, 95% of the world that has faith in a God or a higher power that you can't prove? But you're on an earth that 95% of the population has a spiritual belief. That means they have a feeling and a faith in something that they can't prove or test. It's literally a sense that they have. And because science hasn't yet, and they're getting close, because now there's tests that prove that consciousness, there's quantum physics theories that prove that consciousness continues outside beyond death. So now they're creating tests where they can see that consciousness transcends human form. Because now we've lived long enough for scientists to come up with tests that they can then prove or disprove those ideas with. But until scientists got there, all you had was a belief.
Okay. Has there been people who have believed in something, yet later on science has demonstrated it to be not true?
Yeah, and there's been scientists that have believed in crazy stuff that then scientists disbelieved was not true.
Yeah.
It's equal.
Yeah. Is the time to believe anything just when you want to believe it's true, or when there's like evidence for it?
Well, it's tricky because you're having a conversation with the person that believes that what you believe creates the correct evidence. So I know that sounds like really bananas to you, but that's like a separate question, because I think that you carve out the experiences that you first believe you're going to have.
Could someone make the number of Tic Tacs change with their beliefs?
No, and that goes back to my original thing, is that's not a good comparison
It's different.
to the experience of life, because the earth is not a fixed box of Tic Tacs. This planet is not a fixed box of, you're dying, I'm dying, that tree's dying. Those Tic Tacs might actually live longer than all of us. They're probably more fixed state than everything else you're attempting to study. It's fluid. It's fluid.
Does living things act like, do the laws of nature not affect living things as much as like dead things?
The laws of nature, as we know them, well, I wish I knew more about this because I'm just learning about this, but apparently a lot of Einstein's laws right now, quantum theorists are challenged by them. So what I'm saying is, the new information scientists awaken to later, the things that they thought were absolutely true, all of a sudden aren't absolutely true anymore. They're flawed premises, they're flawed theories, they're mistakes that used to be quantifiable truth, you know?
When it comes to that type of thing, I see it as more as a clarification rather than like a discarding it completely and replacing it with something new.
Yeah.
Like Einstein's special theory of relativity was replaced by his own general theory of relativity. Like, he clarified his own ideas to make them fit the observations of reality. Like, he made predictions of a certain way the light would like the way a star would be shifted when the moon went in front of the sun. Like, he made a prediction, and using his science, that confirmed the science of his, like the observation. The number of Tic Tacs, it's basically the same thing. And like, if someone comes along and uses quantum theory to make his ideas more accurate, will that make his ideas false, or will it just? You're
saying his ideas are made more accurate, but I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think there's new quantum theories that are coming out that debunk
his
certain theories. Like, they're actually wrong. I mean, I can't think of it because I told you, like, I'm not as well read on the subject as I'd like to be, but I know that I've read something like that. I just can't regurgitate to you what it was.
Yeah, it seems like his ideas break down on certain scales. Like, with the very, very tiny in the quantum level, his relativity doesn't really make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
But when it comes to like our scale of like the solar system, like, we can use his ideas.
Just that, I mean, even you as a person with a scientific mind, you could say just that example, the fact that it doesn't fit somewhere, means that at the leading edge of our scientific knowledge, you can prove whatever you want to be true. But there's still so much that you don't know. And as a human, there's going to be a flaw in the logic when another discovery is made. Okay, so you are zeroing in on a truth that's not fixed. It's not fixed.
Yeah. So we currently know our current knowledge is flawed in some way, and it will be revised in the future.
It will be revised in the future. And if you imagine like thousands of years in the future, it'll be even more revised.
Yeah. Does that give us permission now to go ahead and believe in whatever we want?
No, but I don't believe in whatever we want. Like I'm not. I think that my perspective holds space for science and for spirituality and for faith to coexist all at the same time.
So it's not really whatever works for someone. It's whatever. I don't understand. We can't believe in whatever we want, but we can believe in whatever works for us.
Because you don't believe in anything but what's provable, you will only have an experience that feels like that to you. Because I believe that magical things happen to me when I'm feeling good, magical things happen to me when I'm feeling good. I can't say that's true for everybody, but I believe that the mind, the power of the mind, the power of the subconscious mind is one of the most creative functions of your experience here. It contributes to what is happening here.
It contributes to what's happening?
Yes.
Like outside ourselves?
Yes. Like imagine humans that then go around and collect lots of plastic and throw it in the ocean, and all of a sudden the sun starts to react to that or whatever, and then there's all these horrific weather patterns that are happening because of how we are affecting this. All of that started in our mind because somebody was like, I'm going to invent a plastic bottle. It all began in our mind. So the most powerful creative force on this planet is the brain, thought.
Belief is just a thought you keep thinking.
So everything keeps expanding. More thoughts, more ideas, more people, more ideas, more people, and then we're building. And all of a sudden, boom, your earth with all of its rules and all of its truths doesn't even exist anymore because we destroyed it with our thoughts. We literally changed the weather pattern with a collective thought of destroying the planet.
Is this belief testable in any way?
Yeah, it's happening.
So if we made a test for this belief, but it failed, would that change your confidence about it?
Sure. My faith comes from the fact that my beliefs don't fail me. And in the tests of my life, the tests that I go through, my belief proves true time and time again. For me, you can stand outside of it, look at it, and be like, that's wonky bananas. But guess what? In my experience, in my tests, it's working out, you know?
It seems like someone could be one last question. Like, if someone goes through life believing in something that can't be shown to be false, it seems like they might be at a risk of going through the life believing in something that's not true. That's just how I feel about it.
So I'll just end again by saying what you believe is what's true.
It's just a thought. A belief is just a thought you keep thinking. And it's your belief.
And it's your belief.
Can we be mistaken about our thoughts?
What?
Can we be mistaken about our beliefs?
It doesn't matter. Whatever you think is true. It doesn't matter. Whatever you think.
How does my
will continue to expand and be true. You are going to find concrete evidence that people that have faith and belief are like not hypothetically testing reality and not living, because that's the thought that you keep thinking. The second you decide to have another thought, you're going to have proof of that thought.
I don't know how that works, but I'll listen
You would
back
have to
it.
try to think like me, and then you would know how it works.
Even in scientific experiments, the evidence is always skewed towards whatever you're believing. Like, no matter how many samples you get, you're going to try to find samples towards the thought that you already have in your head of what you think the outcome should be for that experiment. So you're just trying to gather, as a person, you're constantly gathering more experiences and more thoughts that collectively contribute to the thought you already have, that will provide more proof to what you already believe.
There's some kind of study where they where's the main scientific place in that tests, like, every year they test the gravitational pull on the Earth or something, and there's these giant logs, like literally science logs that you can go by 20 years, like hundreds and hundreds of years. And if you go back in those logs, like, gravity had a different number multiple times. Like, so gravity, which is supposed to be a fixed state, in the logbooks, in these scientific logbooks, has different times, and they basically take the average of that of over so many years and say, well, it's basically like this. And then scientists then performs tests based on gravity as a fixed state, when in these other years it's existed at different states. And if they had been performing those tests based on not the average but on one thing, they would have different laws of the universe, then apply different tests. You are creating that reality. You are creating that. There was one time we didn't know that there were wave particles. We thought everything was solid. Things aren't solid. Like, mass has wave particles in it. That's something that, like, people didn't know about so many years ago. So all I'm saying is that there's a lot that you don't know, and to assume that you do because you can test it based on what you think you know is almost as a limited belief as the opposite, which is living a belief system in your own life, testing it, evolving it as it goes forward, and trusting in it. You know, it's literally two sides of the same coin. And I'm saying there's a way to live on both.
If you go to a restaurant and you think you're going to get bad service, and that's your belief, you're going to get bad service.
Yeah.
And everything from that point on is just going to continue to support the belief that you came in with.
And that you hated that restaurant and it was
that
bad.
You just keep thinking, and it's proving it to you over and over again, and it's just that domino effect.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's proof how it happens. You're like, how do you test it in your own life? It's like, that's a really good, simple example. I walk into a restaurant on a good day and I smile at the person because I have a thought that I'm going to have a positive experience. That person smiles at me because they're receptive to that thought. All of a sudden, I'm having a really great time in a really great restaurant. If you walked into that restaurant and you had a negative belief about what you were going to do there, the waiter would look at you and your face and be disappointed in you.
You're going to find a hair in your stomach. Like, it's just going to continue to keep supporting that thought.
Because that's what you were looking for.
It's not, and that, like, also supports the idea that good people don't always get good things. Like, it doesn't matter if you're good, and it matters what you think. Like, that's why Trump is the president of the United States, because he has no contrasting thoughts. Like,
Also, yeah,
he believes that he is the best human on the planet, and he continues to support that belief by, like, being the president.
Could it be someone's truth that Trump isn't the president?
Oh, well, that's a different. That's like a philosophical question. That is. What were you going to say, Agatha?
I was just going to say, to rely so much. I love the brain. I'm an intellectual. I value my thoughts and critical thinking so much. But to rely on an instrument and an organ as a unflawed premise, as a machine that knows it all and can test and prove correctly, is a very I think that's a limited thought.
Yeah, I don't trust my own brain by itself, for sure.
Then who's testing and proving the things that you think are true?
I trust in the process of science.
And the scientific process was created by what?
it's the worst way to come to it's the worst way to come to truth, but the best one we have so far.
So it's flawed.
It's the best thing we have so far.
Right. It's a flawed premise because it's the best thing we have so far, coming from a tiny little monkey mind that's on its way to much bigger evolutions.
Mm-hmm. If it can land rockets exactly where they can be,
I think that your school of thinking and your scientific process is going to evolve to prove the existence of the things that most people just believed in. I think that those worlds are going to converge, and that's where we're all headed. I even think that's why we're having this discussion right now.
If I would love to believe in whatever's true, and if they can be demonstrated, for sure.
It will be.
And until such time, I'll just reserve judgment, and I'll wait for that time to happen.
Okay. And I'll be there and I'll be like, told you so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Agatha, thank you so much.
Thanks.
This is really nice.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.